started.
Cambalache from Argentina? Yes, Argentina. Okay. D4. Played E4 last time as white. Okay, let's see what he goes for. He's got a pretty good rating there compared to mine. This is the Budapest gambit. Pretty tricky line. It's not really a gambit. A bit of a misnomer because you can't hold on to the pawn. Although I guess there was this game with Aronian, and there is some line where you can hold on to the pawn, but you suffer so much structural damage that it's not usually played. So I play this line with A3. That stops the bishop from coming to B4, pinning this knight, and allows me to develop the knight normally. Looks like he's going to get some kind of bind on the B4 square. Maybe even push this pawn to A4. I'll worry about that later, but that might be a positional thing here. A defect in my position. Anyway, then I'm just going to castle. So, unlike some gambits, you don't seem to get a lot of development here. But he's gotten his pawn back, so he's not down any material. Castling will be normal. Maybe he's thinking about playing D5, D4, I mean D6 or D5. Looks like, yeah, D5 just loses a pawn unless there's something I'm missing. Entirely possible. So either D6 or castle is what I would expect. I suppose he could think of something like B6 and develop the bishop out this way. Yeah, D6. Okay, logical move. Oh, it was just a look at his time. He wasn't really thinking all that time. It was just some sort of a glitch. Sometimes, yeah, in these remote connections. So he's piling up on my poor c-pawn here. Okay, queen there, bishop, knight to here, if possible. What do I want to do? Might be nice for me to get my knight over onto the king side, and I should do it now while I get sort of a tempo on this bishop, and before this file clears up and makes this difficult square to place a knight on. Okay, yeah, so that was my plan, just to go to G3. Just get a little more force on the king side. This trade, when I exchanged knights on D5 there, I lost my king side defender. Now I want to get away from that rook. Let's see. Is the knight coming in anywhere dangerous? Bishop. And put a rook to the D file. I could just play queen c3 and threaten f4, which would, if the knight moves, allow mate here. A simple way to play. Oh, you shored up the knight. Okay. That would have been kind of funny. Probably not the best, but anyway, he's blocked it. Well, maybe I should do kind of a minority attack on the queen side here. I've got a minority. Let's see, but he has some annoying pressure on the c-pawn. So I play bishop to d4 here, try and trade off this dark squared bishop. He might just play c5, but if he does that, that will leave him with a backwards d-pawn, I think. Okay, so he keeps the bishop, puts it on a different diagonal. So now my idea was to play c5 myself. This pawn is kind of weak. In fact, that was a blunder. Oops. Oopsie-doo. Yeah, bishop takes here, just skewers my queen and rook, so I'm going to lose the exchange and a pawn. Yeah, that's annoying. Well, you can't make mistakes like that, especially when you're playing a stronger player. I get punished right away. And my rook is still defended by my bishop. Well, I have the bishop pair, but I'm down a pawn in the exchange, so probably a winning advantage for... this is interesting. So I can play my bishop to here, can't I? How does he defend that? Huh. made that move a little too quickly, maybe. You know, sometimes you get comfortable once you have a winning advantage and you turn off your tactical sensors. Plus the bishop used to be on this square here. It was on e2 and the knight was covering the c4 square, which prevented the skewer. Yeah, I don't see a defense. Knight there. Oh, well, he can give the exchange back. Yeah, rook here. If he moves the knight here, I can just take it. But if he moves the rook here, and then queen takes rook. Unless there's a way, let's see. Rook here, pawn
check.
To... oh, it gives up the rook. Okay. Might have ended up the same. So I should take that. Okay, so now let's not lose my tactical grip here. So I need to keep this square covered and this square covered. And I can play the bishop out here with check. King goes to the corner.
Check.
Just give myself an escape square for my king so I don't get mated. And okay, so now he's got, I've got a piece and he's got a couple of pawns. No, just one pawn for the piece. And it's a peculiar game with bishops. Yes, bishop and knight. I have two bishops and knight. Okay, so I can't say that's that peculiar. This bishop seems a little short on squares. Let's give it some space. Knight can go to here. But maybe I can reroute my bishop somewhere useful. The knight goes here. Queen If knight d3, queen to c4 threatens checkmate on the back rank. Okay, now this is an interesting idea. So he wants to dislodge my knight, his bishop here, and he could deliver a back rank checkmate if I'm not careful. Let's see, can I just oppose queens? If I got the queens off, that would simplify my task quite a bit. Yeah, so he doesn't want to trade queens, of course. Knight here is still possible. I'll have to retreat the bishop. So I have two loose pieces. This is, but I am threatening. No, I'm not, and I'm not threatening anything. I was thinking I was threatening that pawn, but I'm not. In fact, so he could play. Oh no, I am threatening this pawn because the knight's hitting it. So queen here, check. I was going to say then that was a bad move because g5 would just chase my queen away, but I have queen takes. h5 check. And if he defends it the natural way with the g pawn, I can take the f pawn. He can still play knight here to knight d3, hitting my bishop. And I'll move my bishop to a square where it's defended. Yeah, now is it safe to take on f3? The knight can go here, forking. Well, this is with check.
Check.
So it's safe. Shouldn't have taken that long to figure out. Okay, so now bishop here. Get my bishop away from the knight threat. And so I could take the knight and then check here and force a trade of queens, and that should be a easily winning endgame. It's a big advantage you have in these is you have this threat. When you have a material advantage, you have these threats of, okay, so if I take here and he takes my knight, I can take back with the bishop, right? So I take here, he takes, I go here, check, he takes, I take, then he takes my knight. So need to move the knight. And now I do have a potential back rank problem with the bishop covering this square. The queen could get in here somewhere. I would be in trouble. I don't see any avenue right now for the queen. Oh. I just noticed I could have taken on h4. That would have been probably a more convincing way to deal with this. Yeah, I played h4 when this just was not protected. So let's trade. If bishop takes, then I'll do the check. If queen takes, then I'll trade. If he doesn't trade, I have a mate threat here and here. So let's just do
Check.
this. And that gets rid of the back rank threat. And now it's pawns against pieces. Actually, I have the same number of pawns now. I must have lost a pawn in there. Yeah, he lost f3, right? So, but he has these passed pawns which are dangerous, so let's blockade. And this knight, this bishop at the moment is dominating my knight, so let's give my knight a square to go to. He does not want to allow that. I'm going to take. And then go here. I think it's okay if he takes. I take. I'll have damaged pawns, but I still have the bishop. And I should be able to round up his remaining pieces. Okay, so check here. Check here. Let's deliver this check.
Check.
I don't want his king getting forward into my position. And after the king steps back, if the king goes here, I have check and take pawn. So he has to step away from my knight. And the king goes to, if the king goes to g5, then I have knight. What is that, knight e6 check? Yeah, king g5, knight e6 check, king moves. Yeah, so, and then I bring my king forward on the light squares, because so the king is a fighting piece in the endgame. I want to keep his king out of this square. Actually, my knight was already covering that, but now my knight's free to move. Let's see, I can put my bishop back here and go after one of these other pawns. Well, there's no need to. That keeps his bishop tied up. Okay, now I want to play my bishop to c4. And then I can drop my king back and push these pawns forward. Main idea is just to keep these pawns on the queen side frozen. So I don't want his king coming forward, so I want my bishop covering the d5 square there.
Black resigns.
Okay, yeah, that was a hopeless position. So anyway, pretty interesting game and an example of how you have to keep your guard up at all times. I'll do a post-mortem on this and see you guys later. Bye.